Ooh, why is my stream blank? There we go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Toga Motorsports. We're here for the final round of the Toga Motorsports World Tour Series this evening. And I am being joined by the wonderful Barry. Hello Barry mate, how are you this evening?
Hello, I am good, thanks. I'm still getting out of my preparing to race phase. I was supposed to be driving, but because I pulled out too many races, I was disqualified from the championship. So, oops, I didn't get to race.
Yeah.
But oh well, I get to sit back and watch it instead. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome in everyone, whatever platform you are watching on. I'm sorry for these liveries. I honestly, right, and Barry can back me up here, I literally just did a livery sync.
don't know what you're on about. You didn't
No
do
more
everything.
than Barry, I'm gonna die. Seriously, you are going to be unalive in the morning.
No,
I literally,
no, he did do one.
did a livery sync like not even 30 seconds before that stream intro video ended, and the liveries still just aren't here. So I don't even know what's going on anymore. Awesome
Which
Sim
ones are you
Racing is
missing?
horrific and bad. I don't know. Name a driver, all of them. Lauro I haven't got, Bergold I haven't got, Fernando I have got, but that's because I've got it hard downloaded. Quan
haven't
Duplessis
got
I haven't
one,
got, which
two.
is weird because I had his last week. Callum
Haven't got his
Jones
either.
I don't have, just white. Luke Wilson I think I have got it because it's a JP Motorsport, so it's a base game livery rather than a custom. Chris
Yeah.
Southcott I've got because it's a base game livery rather than custom. I've got Calandini because it's the VM Tech. I've got Pierluigi Lelli because he drives the Lelli Motorsports one. I've got McGonagall's. I've got Mandalaces, and I haven't got Squatto. I've got Galamini, got Tatari, and I haven't got Brandon Fuller.
So I think we've got the same then. So I think it's just Awesome Sim
So I
Racing. It's
think
either Awesome Sim Racing
It's either
or
Awesome
maybe
Sim
they've.
Racing or those specific liveries have been
Well,
changed in the last week, and that's made them invalid or something. I
the
don't even know.
one that we do have different, I have Callum's livery. It's the Toga Esports Mustang, and if you don't have it, that's quite bad.
That would just be because I haven't hard installed it, but I literally just did a sync, so it should be there.
Yeah, that's weird. Awesome Sim Racing is an excellent piece of software that never does anything wrong.
No.
That was
definitely
not sarcasm, I promise.
Hey Amarius, how are you doing, mate? I hope you are having a good evening. So as it stands at the moment, we are pretty much halfway into qualifying. It's a 15-minute session, so another 45 seconds and we're in the middle. So we'll just do a quick mid-session roundup. It's currently Andrea Lauro that is leading the way. I'll tell you what, let's change this onto the broadcast format, shall we? Because it's just better. It's Andrea Lauro in the Ragioli Esports, who normally have a very nice kind of yellow and black with white highlight livery that they run both on this Mustang and the Audi of Quan Duplessis. I had it last week when we were at Kyle Army. Don't have it this week. Who knows? We weren't at Kyle Army last week, were we?
Mazzano.
Misano, of course it was. Then it's
Yeah.
Callum Jones in second, who is running in the Toga Esports livery, which is wonderful, by the way. Shout out to Reese and Eric if you guys are watching. They're brilliant with liveries. Quan Duplessis is currently in third in the Audi. Love it when someone uses the Audi. A car that does not get used enough. Incredibly hard to tame. Lucas Bergold, fourth in the first of a few Ferraris that we've got in here tonight. Actually, a healthy amount of Ferraris we've got in here tonight.
More than a third of the grid is Ferraris.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Southcott just hopped up to third. Only a tenth and a half off of the pace at the moment. Let's switch this around so that you can see the times. There we go. I'm good after a day of furniture destruction, painting walls, and I'm so destroyed. Oh yeah, mate. Building furniture is one of the most deceptively tiring activities to do.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're like, oh, this will take me an hour and it'll be fine. No, it will not be fine.
Pan to 8 hours later, and you're still building the same. You're still building the same cupboard you were at midday.
To be fair, I don't find them time consuming. I just find
Not
them tiring.
building, dismantling it and throwing it out.
Oh,
Oh, that is far
well,
easier because you can just smash it.
And that'd be fun too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be like a mini red room.
Yeah,
type
be a
thing.
little, yeah, mini rage room. I love that. So
Could do one of those after this week.
yeah, Lucas Bergold just hopping up to P2 in the LJ Esports 217 car.
Ooh, let's go. We're definitely gonna see a 34.
Yeah.
These guys are seriously quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
So,
that are improving at the moment by kind of like a tenth or two. Zandvoort, an incredibly hard track in this game, one that doesn't get used loads. Um, it could really do
kind
with
of
an
sad
update.
about that. I like Zandvoort.
Yeah, it could really do with
It's
an
a
update to have the kind of modern camber and an elevation change.
yeah, 100%. I would be
Because
so
like
for that.
turn 3 is such an iconic corner at Zandvoort because of that kind of slingshot effect you get through
Yeah.
Tarzan because of how banked it is. And in all fairness, it is slightly banked in ACC, but nothing near as much as it is in real life. It's a good, I think it's like 15 or 20 degrees of banking in there. In real life, it's somewhere
like
between
that.
those numbers. It's it's a lot of banking, and then the final corner's like 13 degrees of banking, and you don't get any of that in ACC, which is disappointing because it would really help these cars carry some momentum.
Just for the sake of facts, turn 3 is 18.7 degrees of banking angle,
Yeah, I knew it was
which is
somewhere in that range.
which is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that is insane. Yeah, so the only corners probably in the world that have higher banking than that are probably NASCAR tracks, NASCAR ovals.
The last corner of Zandvoort has actually got a higher banking angle.
Has it really?
No.
I thought it was less.
Oh no, it's almost exactly the same. It's 18 degrees exactly.
Oh wow.
0.7 of a banking angle difference. Doesn't feel like that when you're driving it.
No, it really doesn't.
Well, yeah, I play the F120, like the F123 and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, same.
Which is like a lot of the is
Yeah.
pretty much all. It does not feel like.
Oh, we're
the
into
same banking
34s by
angle.
the way. Elias Fernando, 34.995. I think that's just because turn 3 is so much tighter. It's a
Yeah.
shorter corner, so the banking feels more extreme because because it's only for a very short period of time that you're doing it, and because it's such a tight radius as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas that final corner is quite lengthy, shall we say?
I don't want to commentator's curse this, but Fernando's 3 tenths up going into the last
Yeah,
quarter section.
I genuinely wasn't planning on saying anything because it's really easy to dip a tyre into the grass/gravel around these final two corners.
Yeah.
He's made it though.
He's
This
not-
is going to be
he's not-
huge.
he's-
Yeah.
Yes, so this is a mega time.
34.6 this is going to be. Yeah, 6.77.
Ooh.
Look at that. Look at that. However, Andrea Lauro is about to cross the line as well. In fact, he just goes just over a tenth behind. It's a 34.785 for him. And Lucas Bergold is improving as well. Currently about a tenth up as he leaves Sector 1 now.
Yeah.
So there is still time in this track.
Sector 2 is a really tricky part of this track. It's so like you have to be very patient with a lot of the corner exits, especially the one he just went through. You have to be patient about the throttle, because you apply it too early, you're in the gravel.
Yeah. Yeah, and Sector 2 is one of those sectors, and there's a few like this in kind of world motorsports. Sector 2 is one of those sectors that drives completely differently depending on what category of racing you're in.
100%.
Like, there are some corners that you attack in a very similar way, no matter what car you're in. Like this chicane hairpin vibe at the end of Sector 2. Sorry, at the start of Sector 3. You attack that the same way, no matter what car you're in. But that middle sector, in an F1 car, it's very flicky. You kind of flick the car around, it does what you want it to, you just point it into the corner and hit the throttle and you go where you need to go. In a GT3 car, you have to hang on to every inch of air and downforce that you can, and you have to really wait for the car to stop doing that almost kind of four-wheel slide that you get when you're right on the brink of grip, until you can get back on the throttle again.
100%. It's such a weird thing. I don't know if you noticed there, but Laro in the last corner was doing enough for pole and lost it on exit on
coming
the
out of the
final
final corner, was it?
Yeah, he dipped the wheel in the grass.
Yeah, so a minute 12 to go, and he's already 25 seconds into this lap. He is going to get another lap. No, he's not. He's parked it. He's parked it. That's the end of
He's
qualifying
done.
for Lauro. So he's resigned himself to at least P2. Elias Fernando is done as well. He's in the pits. So it's now down to what Lucas Bergold can do on not just this lap, but his next lap as well. He has got time for 2. Whether he's got the fuel, we'll wait and see.
Callum Jones is trundling through Sector 3 now, about to start a lap. So he needs to see if he can do it. Juan de Plessis is coming through turn 3, coming out of the first sector, so he still has a couple of tenths to find. He's 2 tenths up, so these last laps are going to be crucial.
Final corner for Lucas Bergold. He has to nail this if he wants to get close to Andrea Lauro. He's going to get close, but it's not going to be close enough. He needs another. Yeah, he needs another. 16 hundredths of a second, pretty much.
Yeah, 16 hundredths of a second for P2, and just over a quarter of a second for pole position.
Yeah, which is a lot of time to find around here.
I'm not sure the Ferrari has that. The McLaren looks a lot better here. I honestly don't know what cars are good at this track. I don't drive it enough to know. But from what I've seen, the McLaren looks.
And that's Callum Jones over as well.
Oh,
massive moment.
Seen it.
Yeah.
I just seen his time dip into the negative there.
Juan de Plessis is coming to the final corner, and he is up. It's going to be 2 tenths of a second by the time he gets to the line, I think.
He's going to take Callum.
He is indeed.
P4. He has.
Yeah, he does. Though he might not be the only driver that does. Chris Southcott improving as well. In the number 613 McLaren could.
Bergold's a tenth and a half down into Sector 3.
Luke Wilson, annoyed with himself, says he had another 10th in it. And it is Chris Southcott goes above Juan de Plessis as well for 4th. Only by 100th of a second. Very, very close.
Marius, can I ask for something, Mr. Porsche? How to drive the 992 without constantly stamping on acceleration and burning rear tires? Throttle discipline is your biggest task with that, and braking and accelerating in a straight line is your other one. If you can do those 2 things, you will start like handling the Porsche a lot better. Even I don't handle the Porsche that well a lot of the time. It's just fun to drive.
Yeah, so in the end, it's the top 5 drivers who get into the 1 minute 34s, which are incredibly fast.
Yeah, and look, you see from P3 to P5 is 3 100ths of a difference. That's mental.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and only 3 tenths of a second separating the top 5 is not a lot of time. What we'll do is we'll do a quick. Should we do a quick grid run through? I feel like we can, can't we? We've got the time for it.
Why not?
Tell you what I could do is I could put it into free cam and do it like proper. Should we do that? Let's do that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Like get the amazing editing skills out.
The official grid walkthrough with Toga Motorsports. Lining up on pole position this evening is Elias Fernando in that wonderful McLaren. Behind him in P2 right now is Andrea Lauro in that wonderful new Ford Mustang GT3. Behind them in the Ferrari 296 GT3 is Lucas Bergold with P4 Chris Southcott, just edging out Juan de Plessis in that McLaren. Juan de Plessis starting 5th in the Audi. Another of the 2 Mustangs here tonight. Callum Jones, a wildcard entry who won't be scoring points. Luke Wilson, annoyed with his qualifying result, starts in 7th with Davide Mandolesi in P8. It's then Pierluigi Lelli in P9 as that's the VM Tech of Mattia Calandini lines up in 10th. It's then going to be Jordan McGonigal, I believe, in P11. Indeed it is. Then it's Galamini in another of the Ferraris. In fact, it's Ferraris pretty about 5 deep at the end back here. Galamini lines up in 12th. It's then going to be... I'm not actually sure who that is. I've run out of people. I can't see everyone. Here we go. It's then Raffaele Tattari. There we go. Lines up in P13. It's then Squatto in P14 and Brandon Fuller rounds out the grid in 15th for the last race of the season. That is your Toga Motorsport grid walk. Bosh, nailed it.
So professional, so we love to see it.
You know it. You know it. If only I could, if only I could have seen the whole grid in my. What I should have done is I should have dragged my my race control so that I could see the whole grid's worth of names before I started doing it. But I didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah, so whenever I do it, I have race control showing one half of the grid and then my ACC showing the other half.
In fact, I didn't
so
even need to do that. The names were on the screen. why
Yeah.
why didn't I just look in ACC? They were all there. Oh well.
As you can see, brain cells are not in this chat with us tonight. As well with me here is never really in the chat. So, Ramirez, isn't the Porsche your main car? Yeah, it's my main car, but I've kind of driven so much of it, I kind of want to try other cars. So that's why I'm like driving the Bentley and stuff as well now. And the Bentley's really fun to drive. I really like the Bentley. I'm driving it in the FGTRL Championship, and it's a lot of fun. Look, had a 34.9. Ooh, that would have been a good lap. That would have put you fighting with P3 potentially if you got that. I just see we're now pulling off for the formation lap as well.
Here we go. Moving now for the start of the formation lap.
Yeah, that 23 McLaren just leading the way.
Yeah, I tell you what. Actually, what I will do whilst I'm here, let's get a proper tab open on Firefox again, and let's head to SimGrid and see how the championship is stacking up. Because I hadn't even thought about that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, the last race of the season means that there is going to be some championship things going on.
I forgot. Tonight is double points as well, isn't it?
Tonight is double points. Unless you're Callum Jones, who isn't scoring any points because he's a wildcard entry.
Yes, that is true.
World Tour Season 5 is already up. That's not the one that I want. Are we on Season 4 right now?
We're in Season 3.
We're in Season 3. God, Hayden is being insanely organised right now.
Is he?
It's probably Dexter, actually. Okay, so leading the championship at the moment is Lucas Bergold. He's on 413 points. It's then Ethan Faulkner, who isn't here tonight, in second, 391 points. Then it's Andrea Lauro, 372. Now, if my maths is correct, double points means that Andrea Lauro can win this race as long as Lucas Bergold doesn't finish in, I believe... No, Lucas Bergold would have to retire, I think, for him not to win this race with 15 cars on the grid. Lucas Bergold, I think, has won the championship here. I don't think there's anyone close enough to gain enough points over him. I would have to look at how the race results are scored.
See, I thought I saw Ethan Faulkner in the practice server whenever I thought I was driving tonight.
Yeah, but he's not here. He's not on the grid.
Yeah.
Not on the grid. So a race win gives you 105 points. 15th gives you... Oh, okay, hold on. No, he can.
It's double points.
And it's double points, so the gaps in between each grows. So where is the 15, kind of the 15-point mark?
So
About
41
there.
point difference.
So if Andrea Lauro wins this race and Lucas Bergold finishes below 4th, Andrea Lauro takes the championship. So we'll have to keep our eyes on this. Anyway, let's stop doing that because the race is about to start.
Yeah.
I'll do some intense maths in a minute.
Yeah.
There it is, green, green, green for the final time in the World Tour. Elias Fernando gets a good start. Andrea Lauro looking for a little bit of a slipstream, but there's not going to be anything going there. And it's Juan de Plessis rocketing, trying to get up the inside of Lucas Bergold. Doesn't make that move work, and he's now going to be under pressure from Callum Jones. Callum Jones can't make that move happen. And Elias Fernando and Andrea Lauro are fighting at the front, although it looks like Elias Fernando has managed to kind of solidify his lead off the
Yeah,
start.
looks like everyone's behaving at the back as well. No door banging, no incidents, no nothing. Everyone just jockeying for position. Jordan McGonagall's just retaken 12th from Sciotto, and he's on the back of Gallimini in the Ferrari.
In the Ferrari train, yeah.
I'm watching the GT3 challenge and iRacing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But no, everyone behaving themselves so far. No incidents to report, which is what we love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I can have a look at the contact log. In fact, my incident log is saying that there's not been any contacts.
I didn't see any contact, so that might be true.
Which would be massively impressive. I would be very surprised if there hasn't been any contact. But yeah, enable contact detection is on.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's been any.
I just think everyone looks to be behaving themselves so far.
No, absolutely. So at the moment it's Lucas Burgold directly behind Andrea Lauro. As long as he can keep that up, he'll take the championship. And Pierluigi Lelli has had an off or something through the final corner here. Let's have a look. Rewatch the Aston Martin number 12. He gets in the grass on entry into the final corner, which just drags him wide.
Oh no! Oh,
Who is
Brandon, that wasn't. He went for a move into the first corner. It didn't look like the space was really there. It was
oh god, yeah, he was a long way back, wasn't he? God, he was a long way back. No, that is fully on Brandon Fuller there. He did wait for Raffaele Tattari to come back past him, but that will be a sizable penalty, I would expect, coming the way of Brandon Fuller there.
If it's not a penalty, it'll be a warning at least, because he did give the position back. So, you know, always good sportsmanship to give the position back whenever you've done something, you've made a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we love to see.
Now, these guys at the front are all still within a second of each other. Everyone down to P9 as Luke Wilson immediately makes that an incorrect statement. Thank you, Luke. No, he's back again. That's good. Everyone down to P9 is within a second of the car in front of them.
Yeah. It's just a massive train right now.
It is. It's just huge. And I have a funny feeling that Callum Jones, with the mighty grunt of that American V8 in the front of that Mustang, could be looking for a move on Juan de Plessis here. No, it looks like that Audi's relatively slippery in a straight line here.
Yeah, it looks like Callum had to brake a bit more than he would have liked there in turn one.
Very slidey on the exit.
Yeah, it looked like Callum was trying to carry more speed there, but the Audi in front meant he couldn't do so. Just having to file in behind for the moment.
Yeah, and Zandvoort, a track really where top-end speed is not necessarily the characteristic you're looking for in a car.
No.
Not really any massive straights.
It's all sort of like medium speed corners, really. You're not really getting a lot of top end in. Like obviously the main straight you're getting a little bit, but in the grand scheme of a lap, that's not that big a deal.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, as 9th, Calandini, there's now two sort of trains forming. Gallimini in P10 has dropped 3 seconds off the lead pack.
Yeah,
And
running noticeably slower, a second slower than the car in front of him, Mattia Calandini, last lap. So that gap is going to be growing all the time.
Yeah, Gallimini has McGonigal and Sciotto for company. To be fair, if I was racing, this is where I would be in this 10 to 12 battle, I think. Because I am not that good at Zandvoort.
No, absolutely.
Especially with the strength of field, it's not even close to the top, like the front guys. Callum's sort of trying to pull a little bit of a gap to Luke, who's got Davide for company. Luke is running a VM Tech train right now with Davide, Mandolese and Calandini behind him.
Yeah.
Davide's all over the back of him in that BM. He's the only BM in this race tonight. That's surprising.
Hello, whoever just followed. Thank you for that. For some reason, what is it with these graphics? Why do they not work?
Yeah, I didn't get. Well, to be fair, I have my things muted at the moment. Yeah, Marius, the Bentley is awesome.
Whoever that was who just followed or subscribed or whatever it was you did, can you undo it and then redo it again? And we'll see if I've got my graphics in the right size to be able to see it on the screen. Sorry, I know that's an annoying thing to ask. But I just want to... Because these have been giving me grief for weeks now. Yeah. Trying to get these blooming graphics to fit in the screen where they're supposed to. Anyway, Andrea Lauro is fighting for the lead. 3/10 this time behind Elias Fernando. That has come down noticeably. It was 8/10 a lap ago as they came down this front stretch.
And Bergold has Southcott for company, 4/10 behind him.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is going to be... Lauro really needs Southcott to put the pressure on.
Yeah, these could be crucial moves for the championship if these were to come off.
And another driver who's not out of the championship fight as well is Luke Wilson. He's only 2 points behind Lauro, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a chance for Luke Wilson, but running 7th at the moment is not going to be happening.
Yeah, as it stands, Luke is not winning it. As it stands, Bergold will win.
Thank you, Raid. Raid, they're subscribing with Prime over on Twitch. Thank you very much for that. An old familiar face, Raid is. So good to see him.
Nice one. Yeah, Luke's starting to fall off the back of Callum Jones a little bit by like a 10th or 2 a lap. It's now around about 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, and Lauro struggling now. I mean, not struggling. He's only 0.6 of a second behind. But that gap just starting to open up a bit as well. Maybe, you know, he threw a punch at Elias Fernando last lap and narrowed that gap, and now Elias Fernando is gone. Well, if you want to run faster to try and overtake me, then I'll just run this. I'll just run faster as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all going to be mind games for this race because all these guys are incredibly fast. So it's going to be less about who's got the pace because they're all quite similar. It's going to be who's got the mental, the mental to win this race, and subsequently the championship in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Although Lucas...
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say Lucas Bergold, I am noticing, starting to drop back, kind of on that second gap for the first time to Andrea Lauro, and the same for Chris Southcott, kind of bridging on that second's gap to Lucas Bergold as well.
Yeah, they're sort of slowing off a little bit. Bergold was 3/10 slower than Lauro, 4/10 slower than Fernando last lap. Which is... I'm kind of surprised at. All championship, Bergold has been right up there with them the entire time, in terms of lap time. Maybe just isn't one of his more comfortable tracks, which, you know, it happens. Yeah, no, I almost interrupted you because I thought McGonigal was going to send it down on Gallimini in turn 1, but he backed out at the last moment.
No, don't you worry.
No, he backed out of it, so that's why I just let you continue. Oh, as Lele is going for it, he's just overtaken Scuto for P12, but Scuto's going to keep it on the inside for this hairpin, but the inside line is too much for the Ferrari driver. That is Lele up to P12 now. Lovely move.
Yeah, absolutely. That that kind of outside to inside switch, going around the outside at that little right hand 90 degree before the hairpin that's then a left hander, is a very good kind of overtaking setup to work with.
Yeah, 100%. Just sacrificing one inside line and get the next one. Oh, hang on a minute. Fernando might have made a slight mistake. Look how close Lauro is now. Commentators curse Lauro. Oh no. And
if Lucas Bergold gets him there, that was a squeeze. I think Andrea Lauro knows that if he wants to keep this championship, he has to try and keep Lucas Bergol behind him.
I cursed the. I said mentioned Fernando and cursed Lauro somehow at the same time. Oh no. That's gonna be one of those nights where the commentators curse is strong with us. Hopefully not, but. Sel, welcome in. Good evening. Hope you're enjoying the race so far. Yeah, that's let Fernando run away by 2 seconds now, so all that work Lauro was doing to stay so close to him, he's gonna have to start putting in that work again to claw back all that time he's just lost while fending off his championship rival. Chris Southgate surprisingly has the fastest lap of the race so far, a 35.39.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous speed to do in a race.
I know. In race pace with probably what, 60 litres of fuel?
That would be like absolute max quali pace for me. A 35.4 pretty much.
A 35.4, I would be lucky if I could get that here. I don't drive this track, I'm very, very bad at it.
And, Sal Weissman, sorry. Sal Weissman's just saying hello in chat. Oh, Lucas Bergold has a moment. Chris Southcott now right with him. Lucas Bergold getting it very, very sideways under braking. Too much speed into the corner there. And is Chris Southcott going to have a run here in that famously slippy McLaren in a straight line? No, he doesn't quite.
But he's so close to him. But you also see the Audi and the Mustang are so close as well.
Yeah, Juan de Plessis and Callum Jones really not far behind.
Look how close Callum is. He's nearly pushing that Audi. Oh, that's the second time. I need to stop mentioning drivers' names.
He put a wheel in the gravel, didn't he? Right after you said it.
Yep.
Here we go. Chris Southcott only a 10th behind, almost level.
Bergold went very defensive there.
Yeah.
Able to hold the position.
I think Chris Southcott knows that really to make a move at turn 1 you have to be alongside into the braking zone.
Yeah.
Because as much as it is obviously turn 1 is a hairpin, and these GT3 cars you can brake incredibly late into that corner because you take a kind of a V line through the corner, so you brake deep and then pivot the car and then get back on the throttle.
Yeah, and if you can trail brake that corner properly, you can brake so late.
Yeah, absolutely.
As someone who's not very good at trail braking sometimes, I wish I could trail brake that well. But no. Emeritus has called me a witch. Nice. Witch Barry in action again. Love it.
Just cursing everyone.
I don't mean to. It's not.
I don't do it on purpose. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. It's all fun and games. Callum Jones has fallen back a little bit after his little oopsie in the gravel. We're gonna call it. He's now about a second back on Duplessis. Which has given that Audi driver a little bit of breathing room now. He can actually, untense himself for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, Chris Southcott, although he has run the fastest lap of this race, is currently running the slowest out of this kind of top 6 by just over a 10th of a second.
Yeah,
I don't know whether is he maybe just running a little bit more of a relaxed stint to start this race? We've seen Chris Southcott pull an undercut already in the Silverstone round of this World Tour event. Is he maybe this time going for the opposite? Is he maybe taking a bit more of a relaxed stint approach? And then, obviously, this is a very high tyre usage circuit. So is he thinking that if he comes out of the pits with, say, half an hour to go rather than 40 minutes, he'll have 10 minutes of tyre advantage?
Yeah, and then he can rag the car for all it's worth and not worry about the tyre wear.
Is that possibly what he's thinking by going just a little bit slower in this opening stint? Or is it because the car's already struggling? Because he was sideways out of the corner there.
Yeah, it could really be 15 minutes. I don't think you'd be struggling yet unless you were really spinning your rears out of all the corner exits. So I'm not sure it's to do with him struggling. Maybe more. I think maybe the first option's more right. He's sort of just taking a more relaxed approach. He's not going all out just yet. He's saving that for later.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, it's still great. At that point there, we had up to Davide Mandalesi all in shot on the same straight. The top 8 cars all on the same straight at the same time. Really shows you just how close and competitive this field is, because this front straight at Zandvoort isn't massive. It's not particularly long.
No.
So to have the top 8 cars all in the same frame is kind of testament to the strength of the field here.
Yeah, the strength of field in this championship has been insane. Like, I'm not a slow driver, but my word, I'm so slow compared to some of these guys. They are incredibly fast. Let me see, so... Yeah, so like at that last lap he was more on par. He was on par with Laro's time. Laro's back under... He's a half a second back from Fernando again.
Yeah, Lauro really reeling him in. It's been kind of 3/10 a lap for the last few laps, and he's now only 4/10 behind. The problem is that it's very easy when you're faster than the car in front to be faster than them, faster than them, faster than them, and then you get to the back of them and you end up just running the same pace that they do. Yeah. Because you can't find a way past.
A, you're running in the dirty air, and B, if you can't find a way past, you can only go so fast. Otherwise, you're going into the back.
He was a second faster that lap. Elias Fernando must have had a moment that we missed on that lap to really close that gap down.
Yeah, I wonder, are these McLarens in general and just struggling?
Possibly.
Because we were saying about Southgate there a minute ago, and if Fernando's starting to struggle, then
maybe these McLarens are just a little bit tough on their tyres around here.
That would explain a lot.
Although it would be surprising. Not being tough on tyres is not particularly a trait that you'd expect that McLaren to have.
I think on some circuits it can be really, really hard in this tyre wear.
So maybe it is then.
Because I think this is a track that suits the McLaren, so maybe then...
Matteo Calandini's round. Matteo Calandini is round. Has there been contact? No, he's dropped it on his own. He's dropped it on his own.
Did he just hit a curb wrong or something? Going up that back straight?
Yeah, coming through the kind of uphill, downhill S's in towards turn 7. He just dropped it on his own and he's gone again. Rear tyre's too hot and Calandini spins again.
That's unfortunate. He's still stopped on track. He's got going again.
I think he had to restart the engine from that spin because these modern GT3 cars have auto kill switches when the car spins.
Oh, Laro thought about a move going into turn 1 there. Just a little bit too far back.
I don't think he was thinking about a move. I think he knew realistically he wasn't going to be able to make it happen. I think he's just showing himself, you know? Just kind of letting Elias know that he's there and he wants to get past.
Yeah, just sort of saying the second the mistake is made, I'm right here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Those kind of mental pressure games that drivers love to play so much.
There's nothing more fun than playing mental games.
We all hate to be on the receiving end of mental games, but we love to give them out.
Yeah. I think it was the Mazzano race last week. I was doing it to other drivers.
God, Lucas Bergold again has shot it far too deep into that corner. I don't know what it is about that right-hander, but he just can't get this Ferrari under wraps on the braking into there at the moment. It's the second or third time in the last kind of 10 laps that he's done it.
I wonder if it's just a track that he hasn't, is maybe not one of his stronger tracks, and maybe just not as used to driving it. Because the same would be said for me. I don't drive this track.
Elias Fernando's wide at the penultimate corner. Andrea Lauro sniffs it up the inside. He might get the run. He is going to get the run. And it's going to be Andrea Lauro as the new leader across the start-finish line.
That is brave. That was incredibly brave by Lauro.
So Lauro now, he's done what he needs to do. He's in first. He just needs to stay there. The championship now is out of his hands. It's up to everyone else, and specifically it's up to Lucas Bergold and what he does for the rest of this race.
Yeah, as long as Lauro stays where, if Lauro wins this race, he can't do any more than that.
No, absolutely. He's put himself in the best position he possibly can. The only thing that could make it better for him is a fastest lap the other side of the pit stop, because that will bring 10 points this race rather than 5.
Yeah, and he'll need that, I think. If Bergold, Bergold doesn't look like he's going to drop places anytime soon.
Yeah. So if Andrea Lauro comes out here with his current position at 105 points, that.
Well, let's do some math.
That's what I'm doing. Trying to see who got the fastest lap. So 105 points is just for the win. So that's up to 210. And then an extra 10 on top for a fastest lap for 220. Third place gets 94 points, which will take them to 188 points. So that's a gap of, what, 32 points.
No, it's
'Cause it's 220 points.
Oh, 220. Sorry. Yes. Yeah,
With the fastest lap, 10 points on top. And as it stands, Andrea Lauro is 41 points off.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be enough to get the fastest lap as well. He needs, if he gets the fastest lap, he needs Lucas Bergold to finish 4th. If he doesn't get the fastest lap, he needs Lucas Bergold to finish 5th.
Yeah.
For the championship.
And that's going to be a tall order, as Lauro will know. Bergold is an incredibly fast driver.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it will be, to a certain extent, I think it's going to be about how it's all about how hard you can push the car without having those moments that we've seen, like Callum Jones have, that we've seen Pierluigi Lelli have at the start of the race. It's about pushing the car as hard as possible without falling foul to the kind of old school track design that we've got here, where the second you're over the white line, it's gravel or grass.
Yeah. This is a track, it's like Mazzano with the track limit. The difference with this is it's gravel and grass.
Ooh.
The second you make a mistake, you're off.
Sorry about that cough, everyone. I've probably just blown your eardrums out, but it snuck up on me. I was not expecting it.
It didn't blow my ear off, so you might have got away with it. To be honest.
And now Chris Southcote is back. He's kind of back there with Lucas Bergold again, although he's being chased by Juan Duplessis.
Yeah, that Audi is really close to him as well.
Yeah. I tell you what, I have a funny feeling. First of all, I think our theory about the McLarens being hard on their tyres around here is true. Because both of those McLarens are now struggling, and so is Luke Wilson. His pace has not been going brilliantly.
Yeah.
I think if Juan Duplessis can find a way past Chris Southcote here, then he could probably challenge Lucas Bergold for that 4th place.
Yeah. I agree.
But it's not looking like it's going to be massively long until Lucas Bergold is finding his way past Elias Fernando either.
Yeah. Although Bergold was slower last lap, so he must just be having a much better lap this time. I wondered why there was someone that had the green beside their name. It was Callum Deany. He served his pit stop, obviously getting rid of those tires that were red hot.
Very, very toasty. Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very toasty.
Yeah, Laurel really needs Fernando to back up Bergold. Let's see, last lap.
I don't even know if he needs him to... it's not even necessarily about backing Lucas Bergold up. It's kind of just about holding position. You know, I think...
I think the reason I'm saying that is to bring Southcott and Duplessis more into it.
Yeah, yeah, no,
if
that's
he
that's
backs
true.
them up a bit, it'll bring them back into it.
Yeah, but I guess
more pressure on them.
I guess the question is it better for Lauro to know that Lucas Bergold is definitely in third and isn't going to be getting past Elias Fernando, but is still kind of close to him? Or is it better for Elias Fernando to try and hold Lucas Bergold up? He risks Lucas Bergold getting into second, at which point his championship is looking very, very minimal in terms of the probability.
Yeah.
It's kind of a difficult one to weigh up, isn't it? And
Yeah,
obviously, we say all of this, but Andrea Lauro has no way of controlling what Elias Fernando does.
No, 100%. He can only speculate what may happen. In reality, none of us are going to know until the checker flag how it all plays out.
No, absolutely, because there can still be incidents. Like Lucas Bergold just got very wide and very sideways there.
That was a big snap. Southcott's about a second behind him now. He's almost back in under a second to Bergold.
Yeah, and Andrea Lauro still in the 35s. God.
That's literally what I was about to say as well. His pace is nuts.
Yeah, 0.3 faster than anyone else on track. Last lap. The gap to Elias Fernando now 1.7. Yeah, Andrea Lauro is absolutely doing everything he needs to do. What he needs is for either Chris Southgate to turn up the wick a little bit more, or for both kind of Elias Fernando and Lucas Bergold to start struggling on tyres and kind of naturally fall back to Chris Southgate.
Yeah. There's another thing I'm noticing that's just forming up. Luke Wilson's getting a little bit closer to Callum.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
I wonder is his Mustang struggling a little bit? Oh, that's a big drift, Callum. Oh, that's not what you want.
Yeah, I think Callum...
very sideways.
Callum obviously hasn't driven ACC for about, I think, probably 3 weeks, maybe 4. He's been on a wonderful driving holiday down into Italy and then back up past Germany, which I'm very jealous of.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But that means he hasn't really had any practice. It's been a long time since he's driven that Mustang, and he is getting sideways out of more corners than he isn't at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be helping his race.
Yeah, and you can't really blame it. Oh,
and he's coming to the pit lane already. 51 minutes. Whoa.
That was close. I think the last time Callum drove ACC was whenever we did the Hungary race.
I think it must have been, yeah.
And just gonna remind everyone that we won that race, me and Callum.
Yeah, absolutely, you did.
Well,
and Hayden was delighted by that result.
Oh, he was absolutely fuming with that result. what was the gap at the end? Like quarter of a second or something?
I think it was like 0.4 of a second or something stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple more laps and Hayden would have had me, to be honest.
Hayden was like, one more lap, damn it.
I was struggling so much at the end.
Andrea Lauro, 5.5 tenths faster than anyone else on track. Than Elias Fernando, sorry, in P2 last lap. That is
nearly
wicked.
2 tenths faster than Bergold, Southcott. And then a lot faster than the rest of the field. He is very fast. Making that Mustang do things it shouldn't be able to do. It's supposed to be fast in a straight line and terrible everywhere else. As Bergold's getting very close to Fernando this lap. 0.2 behind. Will Bergold be able to hold it through the last corner to maybe try a run down?
I don't know, I think
Not
that
really.
McLaren's going to have too much of an edge on the Ferrari
Yeah,
for
no,
it
he's
to
too far
really
back.
work.
He's definitely too far back here. Where has Callum come out? Callum's come out 3 seconds behind Scudo. So he's a little bit of clean air for now. So just stretch the legs on his Mustang. Hopefully, hopefully a little bit less slidey for him this time. Yeah, Southcott and Duplessis are running almost identical lap times as well. They're really just holding fire with each other at the moment.
Yeah. And that kind of just isn't ideal, really. I think there was a couple of laps where Chris Southcott was kind of managing to hang with Lucas Bergold and Elias Fernando at that kind of like just about a second, maybe kind of to 1.2. He was kind of in that range, and now it just seems to have fallen away from Chris Southcott in this kind of later stage of these tyres.
I'm just sort of watching through Sector 2 there. The car looks incredibly twitchy. I wonder, is he fighting the tyres?
And I tell you what, that is a brilliant time, for Gabriel Squatto to pit. Because Callum Jones will have been catching him pretty quickly on those new tyres, and he's just pit and got out of Callum Jones's way, which I'm sure he'll be very thankful for. Sorry to step on toes.
No, you're absolutely fine. Do not worry about it. Yeah, we do expect the pit stops to be coming in over the next 15 minutes. Oh, as I literally said, Duplessis is coming in.
Interesting. Possibly looking for an undercut here on Chris Southcott. Run a slightly longer second stint, but those first few laps on fresh tyres should be faster. About a second faster, actually, than the current pace that Chris Southcott is running at.
Yeah. What was I gonna say there? I was gonna say yeah, sorry. My brain went off on another tangent there. Yeah, he was stuck behind Southcott. I think he's just trying to get some fresh, clean air, but where's he gonna come out? Will he actually get that clean air? He's gonna come out somewhere around Callum. Not sure exactly where. As Lely's also in the pits as well now. Going for an undercut, I think, on McGonigal in P8 currently.
So Duplessis should come out ahead of Callum, but I don't think he's actually going. Oh no, he's right near the exit of the pit lane, so he is. He's going to come out ahead of Callum, which is good for him. It'll be interesting to see how close Callum is to the back of him.
Hang on, he's gained on Callum.
He has gained a little bit of time on Callum, so that's interesting. Callum not having run actually brilliant laps out of the pit lane, a 36.1. Callum's last lap, only on his, I think, third lap out of the pit lane here. Is not ideal. Lucas Bergold has fallen 1.2 seconds back from Elias Fernando. He's had a moment this lap. Somewhere on this lap, Lucas Bergold has had a moment that has dropped him over a second back from Elias Fernando.
Not too sure when that was.
But yes, a 36.7 from Lucas Bergold.
I'm just wondering if he get like a snap oversteer like he's done it a couple of times now.
So the question is now, when do these guys pit? Does Lucas Bergold try and go for an undercut on Elias Fernando to try and move himself up into second? Does he say, actually, I'm comfortable with third, that's all I need for the championship, and kind of leave it? Or...
If it was me, and this is purely just because this is my mentality on it, this is not necessarily what Lucas will be thinking. I'd be thinking, yeah, I'm winning the championship here, but I want better. I want to win. I still want to win the race, so... If it was me, I would attempt the undercut, but again, that's just me, really. I think Southcott will stay out long, especially now that Duplessis is trying to undercut him. It's better if he stays out as long as he can to try and counter that.
Yeah, he either needs to stay out long or box right now. You either minimise the undercut to one lap by pitting immediately, or you kind of have to bite the bullet and stay out for a few more.
Yeah, you run long, and then you use the fresher tires to fight back at the end of the race.
Oh, Lucas Bergold, 2 outside tyres in the grass on the exit of the final corner. He is pushing that Ferrari as hard as he can, I think, at the moment, which is not necessarily the safest way to drive that Ferrari, especially not a track, like we've said so many times, which is so unforgiving the second that you go off or have any sort of moment.
Yeah, like I was in the practice server, it was raining in the practice server, and just any time I went off, it was in the wall. So
actually,
yeah,
that is a point. I am going to keep my eye on the old weather dial, because it is cloudy here at the moment.
Yeah, the practice server was raining, and I kind of expected the race server to be raining, but seemingly not so far.
Not so far, no, but we do still have 43 minutes, 44 minutes, the best part of this race left to go.
Wait, you see now in the next minute, that'll change. It says it's going to rain in like 30 minutes.
Rain in 30 minutes would be the worst thing that could happen here.
It would be kind of cool. It would shake everything up.
I guess the thing is, though, you're going to lose 60 seconds at a pit stop, aren't you? So, would it be faster to just, if it was only going to be like light rain for 15 minutes to the end of the race, do you just stay out on slicks, on warm slicks, and hope?
That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Unless literally everyone pits, then you should pit for wets. If everyone else does it, then you should. But if only a couple of cars do it, you're better staying out on slicks. Because it's only 15 minutes, and especially if it's light rain, it's not going to be that bad. You just up your TC and just be careful.
Yeah.
But if the rain gets heavier, then you're better going for the wets.
And Andrea Lauro, by the way, just to quickly point out, still running 0.5 of a second faster than Elias Fernando per lap. That man is fast. Undeniably fast.
Yeah, he is on a rampage at the moment. Just trying to solidify that P1 by just breaking away from Elias as far as he can, so that even if Elias tries to undercut or something like that, it's not going to really work with the gap that they've currently got. I do expect most of these pit stops to be coming in the next 5 minutes now. Most drivers will just think of going 50-50, you know, 40 minutes in, 40 minutes in. Obviously, there is a couple that we would speculate will not be doing that, but I think majority will.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Chris Southcote appears to be having kind of one of those weird fluctuations in pace again. The gap to Lucas Burgold was down to kind of 1.2 seconds, and last lap he was only kind of half a tenth slower. But this lap, the gap kind of opening back up again, 1.5. Although Lucas Burgold also losing time on Elias Fernando this lap. Is Lucas Burgold? He keeps on drifting over to the middle of the track, coming out the final corner. And every time I think he's going to go to the pits, and he doesn't.
I wonder, is he just scared of running too far away, where he dips the wheel on the grass, and then that's his race over?
Well, he goes out to the very edge of the track on the exit, and then kind of swings it back to the middle. After he's kind of already gotten out of the corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not really sure. Bit weird.
Calandini's in the pits. Has he RTG'd? I think he's RTG'd.
Yeah, he might have had a crash here.
It says time in pit 44, time stop 44. Like
yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah,
he's
RTG'd. Yeah, he has.
That's unfortunate.
Last lap was a 44.0, so yeah, I think he's had an issue somewhere. And Juan de Plessis is getting past Atari. Indeed he is.
That was nice. That was nice and brave from the Audi driver around the inside of the final corner.
Juan de Plessis, just to point out, on his last lap ran his best lap of the race, a 35.4, which is a second faster than what Chris Southcote has been running. So this undercut for Juan de Plessis, I think, is probably going to work.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that might stump Juan de Plessis in his quest of getting Southcote will be at the end of the race. If Southcote's tyres are that much better, he can catch him and overtake him again.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact,
currently, he's on a rampage.
It might not just be Juan de Plessis either, because Callum Jones is only 1.5 seconds behind, and Andrea Lauro is in, and so is Elias Fernando, the top two, hitting the pit lane, splitting this race pretty much perfectly in half. Lucas Burgold and Chris Southcote both choose to keep going, although Lucas Southcott, those are two completely different people. As Chris Southcott now has kind of closed that gap back up again, 4/10 faster than Lucas Bergold on that last lap. Is he now going to unlock the taps a little bit now that he's into this overcut?
That's what I'm thinking. He's going to maybe use what's left of those tyres before he pits. It's going to be interesting to see if that's what he does. Davide's in the pits. Jordan McGonigal's in the pits as well. Yeah,
plenty of people in the pit lane.
Most of the drivers doing their 50-50 split. Brandon Fuller's out of the pits as well.
So Andrea Lauro is moving, and he is out. He's only out. Juan de Plessis is right on the back of Elias Fernando here.
Oh, wow, what an undercut that is.
More importantly, Lucas Bergold was not this close to Elias Fernando before the pit stops.
Yeah, he might have undercut Bergold as well.
There is a real chance that Juan de Plessis is going to have undercut Lucas Bergold here. And
that is mega.
And you know what that means?
That means the championship is ever closer to slipping away from Bergold.
It is getting closer. It is getting closer. Lucas Bergold is in. Chris Southcott stays out again. So he is going for that overcut. Lucas Bergold is in. He needs this pit stop to be perfection.
I am watching Fernando and Duplessis currently.
I think Juan de Plessis knows that fighting Elias Fernando isn't the thing he needs to do.
He just needs to follow him.
Yeah, for them, I think he knows that he's this close, that he's going to be ahead of Lucas Bergold. There is a real chance that he's going to be ahead of Lucas Bergold.
It's going to be close, I think, but I think he's got by maybe half a second.
Yeah, I think it is pretty much going to be... The question is whether Lucas Bergold can hold it on the brakes into turn 1, I think.
Yeah, Bergold's still got 10 seconds more to be stopped as they're coming around the last corner.
But he is right on the pit lane exit, so he can just straight accelerate out of here. There's Andrea Lauro. There they go. He is ahead. He's managed to jump Lucas Bergold. What an undercut strategy from Juan de Plessis.
That is insane.
That is incredible.
And to be fair, Bergold's actually closer to Fernando than he was before the pit stops.
Yeah, only kind of 1 point under a second actually. A second to pretty much bang on. So Lucas Bergold had a very strong in lap.
He did indeed.
But Juan de Plessis undercut, running in those 35s for a couple of laps back to back, straight out of the pit lane, has meant that he's moved up 2 positions in this race. He's now running 3rd on strategy, 5th on track. 2 cars still to pit.
Yeah, just look how close he is to Fernando as well. He's so close to him. He's stuck to the rear end.
And Chris Southcott stays out again.
Duplessis is nearly touched Fernando going through that corner. He's got so much more pace, it seems. He just needs to get past now.
And I told you, didn't I? I told you, Juan de Plessis, he had pace left in the tank. And he is showing that now.
If he can get past Fernando, he can run away in P3, net P2, I believe. Yeah, net P2.
Yeah, net P2 if he gets ahead of Elias Fernando.
Yeah, it is. Net P2, yeah.
Yeah, he's running net P3 at the moment. And he was running 5th before the pit stops.
That is an insane undercut.
I think Chris Southcott has to box now, you know. 36.7 his last lap. These guys
box this lap, or if he doesn't box this lap, it'll have to be next lap. I don't think the tyres have got any more pace left in them.
Yeah, because we're coming up now on what he's run 45 minutes on these tyres.
Yeah, the one saving grace he will have is he'll have 10 minutes fresher tyres than Duplessis because he pit it.
Duplessis pit with 15 minutes before the middle of the race. And here we go, Chris Southcott is in. Slightly slower through the final corner and into the pit lane than other drivers have been. I have a funny feeling that he's going to be out behind this battle and ahead of Callum Jones.
Yeah, I think he will as well. He's going to slot back in where he was, but instead of Duplessis, he's behind.
It's going to be Lucas Bergold, yeah.
Yeah, but with the fresher tyres, if he can open up the taps, he can make them positions back up, for sure. Is Gallimini coming in? Gallimini stays out. He's really going long.
Yeah, so Gallimini is going to be the leader of the race.
I would imagine he'll be pitting this lap or the lap after. He won't stay too much longer.
He's got to be right.
His last lap was a 38.
There's Lauro, there's Fernando, there's Condeplacis, there's Lucas Bergold. And Chris Southcutt is moving now. He's going to be out behind Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson,
he's behind Luke Wilson.
I don't think he is. It's going to be close. Luke Wilson is going to try and have it round the outside.
Wilson will have warmer tyres.
Oh, there's a little touch. But I think Chris Southcutt will have it. Yeah, he does.
Oh, that was close.
But he's a long way behind. I mean, 7 seconds.
He's really lost out there. He needs to use this fresh rubber. He really needs to put the hammer down now.
Yeah, I mean, really, he needs to be running he needs to be running in the low 35s every lap to close up to this pack in front, and even then he'll have to get past Callum Jones, who's currently running in the low 36s, before he can even do that.
Yeah, 100%. And he also knows to fend off from Luke Wilson, who currently will have warmer tyres in the right window.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lucas will still be getting up to temp. It's all getting nice and spicy out here.
Gallimini is into the pit lane, so that means that Andrea Lauro will now be the leader of the race again.
And then everyone will have served their mandatory pit stop, which we love to see. Where is Gallimini going to come out? He's probably going to come out. I think he was fighting McGonigal, or if I remember correctly.
Andrea Lauro, by the way, has taken the fastest lap of the race, 35.270.
Oh, he has. That is key for his championship chances. Realistically, he probably needs to put in a lap that's a 10th faster than that if he wants to keep it.
I don't know. We'll wait and see, because no one touched the fastest lap that Southcutt put in, and that was a 35.370 in the first stint, and no one else got close to that. And Andrea Lauro overall was the fastest driver in stint 1 as well. So I'm not sure if even that will if he really needs any more. What he needs is Lucas Bergold to lose another position, or possibly even 2, to be able to get this championship. The depreciation per position isn't massive though.
What do we say? The gap was 41 points. So, with the fastest lap is 31 points. So, if Bergold finishes 5th, Laurel will take the championship. As long as Laurel keeps the fastest lap.
Yeah, but at the moment there's no one there to pressure Lucas Bergold. Callum Jones is 5 seconds behind. Chris Southcutt a further 3.
Oh, Duplessis got really close into turn 1 there. Fernando just fending him off. But look at this, Bergold's getting closer to them as well. As Luke Wilson's getting very close to Southcutt as well. This is not what Southcutt needs. He needs to be putting down really strong pace, but he doesn't look like he's doing it so far. He's in the low 36. Last lap was a low 36, 36.1. Which is not what he needs.
No, absolutely not. It's really weird because Chris Southcutt was so fast off the start of the race.
Yeah, he was absolutely rapid. It's just sort of.
Oh, Lucas Bergold almost into the back of Quandaplacis there. Oh, that was so close.
I didn't quite see that one. I was looking at the McLaren battle.
And I don't know if maybe Lucas Bergold is just trying to give himself a little bit of a blanket by having a car in between him and the next vital position.
Yeah. Because I wonder, does you would like to think Burgle will know that his current position will be enough for the championship, but
that's not going to help. Going deep like that is not going to be good for him.
No, he might not know how close this championship fight is.
No, there is a chance.
Because realistically, you can't. Whenever you're driving, you can't tell who's the fastest lap. So realistically, he won't know to the extent how close this fight really is. If it was me in this situation, I wouldn't risk the fight. I would just sit behind Duplessis and just run in fourth. In the current state of the race, trying to fight two cars so close together is risky. Incredibly risky.
These guys here are pushing very hard. It's interesting to see how quickly their lap times have dropped off compared to in the previous stint.
I will say that the track and air temp has increased.
It was.
I'm
pretty sure it was 24:30 at the end of qualifying.
It was 23 air temp.
It was definitely 30 track at the end of quali.
Okay, the air temp has increased 1 degree, which I don't think it would have had. I don't think that will be the full reason why, but I think that might have a little bit of an effect.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because all of these drivers have pushed so hard on their outlap or outlaps to try and kind of stay in the battles that they were having, that actually they've just put more strain through the tyres in the early parts of the race, in the early part of the stint, and it's just taken a little bit more life out of them than it normally would. Possibly something to do with that.
Probably especially the battle for P2 that's still raging on. I would reckon, especially Duplessis. He needs to now manage his tires a little bit, because remember, his are 10 minutes older than Southcote's, and probably at least 5 minutes older than most of the cars around him. So he will have to do a little bit of managing as well to make sure he doesn't overdo them.
No, absolutely. It is going to be a game of management for Juan Duplessis with those older tyres.
Especially in an Audi, if you know, it's hard to tame that beast. Although Duplessis is doing a very good job of it, but even still, it's hard to manage your tyres in a car that wants to kill you every corner.
Yeah, so right as I said that the lap times were weirdly slow for this early in the stint, they both went and did 35s on their last 2 laps, and Lucas Bergold as well. Brilliant, thanks guys. Clearly they heard us and were like, "Oh, we'll just prove these guys wrong quickly."
Yeah, Luke Wilson, later pace is crazy, had a really good stint, but still dropping seconds. Yeah, the strength of field has been insane in this championship.
Lewis Wilson still looking for a move past Chris Southgate. He was alongside into the braking zone at turn 1 there, but forced onto the outside line by the defending Chris Southgate meant that he had nowhere to go.
Southgate's still not running in the 35s.
No, this car really struggling after the pit stop there. I'm not even sure what could have caused this kind of difference in pace in between lap 1 and a pit stop, where he should have come out with less fuel than he had on board at the start of the race.
Yeah. No. It's strange because we all know how quick Southcott is throughout this series. He's been so fast. And we haven't seen it at the start of the race, as you said, so it's kind of strange to see it just sort of not there at the moment.
Yeah, no, it is odd, absolutely.
Yeah, Southgate was fighting for the podium and is now currently not going to be able to get the podium at this rate. He's too far back. He's still... Oh, and as I said, he goes off. Luke Wilson's going to have a much better run out of the final corner here. As Southgate goes on the grass, or the gravel. As you can see, Southgate has to go very defensive. Look at how deep he's running that McLaren to try and hold off.
He might have outbraked himself here. Luke Wilson back up the inside. That's going to be move done for Luke Wilson.
That is a beautiful move. Absolutely inch perfect
Crafted.
switchback.
Yeah.
Well done, Luke. Picked your moment and you made it work.
Yeah, and again, that's those mind games. You know, gets on the offensive, forces Chris Southgate to drive a line that isn't committed to memory because it's not the racing line, and then he brakes just a meter or two too late. But he's off the racing line, which means he doesn't have all of the rubber down grip, and that just means he sails past that apex by a good 3 or 4 meters. And Luke Wilson just, sticking that very similar McLaren straight up the inside.
Yeah, you could say Southgate left a McLaren-shaped hole at the apex.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Yeah, pretty much perfect, wasn't it?
Oh, McGonagall's in the pits.
I'm not sure what that's for.
Neither am I. He hasn't RTG'd.
No, he hasn't RTG'd.
He's driven in.
Why are you in the pits, Mr. Jordan? Has there been another spider?
And I think if it was a spider, we would have saw another hardware disconnect style crash.
It's going to be very funny if I open the GT3 World Tour chat and he's like, "Oh, there's another spider." But no, he's just... This isn't a regulation length pit stop, it's a long pit stop. But the lap to come in wasn't particularly long, so I'm going to assume something's possibly come up with Jordan there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've actually lost another driver as well. Who's left? Someone? Oh, Calandini. He left.
Yeah, Calandini. Yep.
Yeah. Duplessis has fallen off big time. He's 2 seconds behind Fernando now, but he's still holding off Bergold somehow. Bergold was 3 tenths faster last lap. This is very strange. And the gap from Bergold to... See, I think Bergold's got this championship in the bag, assuming nothing goes wrong. Because Callum Jones is 8 seconds back from Bergold, and he's in P5. I don't think there's really going to be anyone that's going to be able to challenge Bergold for P4.
No, absolutely. Apart from if he was to make an overtake on... If he was to make an overtake on Juan Duplessis would challenge him, but then it would be over P3. So
yeah,
I think
Southgate's already fallen a second behind Luke Wilson.
I think this is probably going to be the race.
I think this is Bergold's championship. It's only by a handful of points, but that'll do it.
Yeah, it's not going to be by many at all. It's going to be by, what, where the gap was 36 and he needed, what, 41? So he's going to win by 5 points.
Oh no, was the gap not 41? And I think he's, Laurel's going to have gained like 36.
Yeah, no, sorry,
way,
yeah. So Lucas Bergold, Lucas Bergold is to the good by 5, yeah.
Yeah, currently, as it stands. Subject to change.
No, absolutely, it is. It is subject to change, because as we've seen, this track can be so punishing when you get things wrong.
Yeah, I felt that in the practice server many a time when I was in the wall more than I wasn't.
Yeah, and Callum Jones being only 8 tenths behind, like if Lucas Bergold ends up off in the gravel, he is going to lose the vast majority of that time getting back on track at most of these corners.
Yeah, like 8 seconds seems like a lot, but when you get in gravel, it's hard to get out of. You lose a ton of time.
Oh yeah, loads of time gets lost, loads and loads.
As Fernando looks like he's sliding about already. It looks like the McLaren's tyres barely lasting like 20 minutes before they start showing signs of struggle.
Of that wear again, yeah.
I will say Luke Wilson is closing in on Callum. He was nearly a second faster on the last lap.
Yeah, he closed in as well. Closed in last at the end, kind of towards the end of the last stint as well. So Luke Wilson possibly going to be thinking about making another move.
Yeah. Luke Wilson was actually faster than Bergold and Duplessis last lap as well by a tenth. So yeah, Luke's got some pace there. It might be a little bit too late to get much further up than Callum. As he's really on the back of him now, he's less than half a second to that Mustang. Let me see. Nothing from Jordan in the World Tour chatter.
No, but still in the pit lane, so clearly something coming up for Jordan McGonigal there.
Yeah. As Callum's having to go defensive through sector 2 there. Oh, getting a big slide on the exit.
I mean, Luke Wilson is right with him here.
Yeah, Luke sort of showing his face in the mirror, in both mirrors of Callum there. Trying to get into his head.
Yeah, showing himself in every mirror in every which way, and Callum gets sideways again.
Yeah. Really struggling to get the power down on that Mustang. But the problem Luke Wilson's going to have is it's going to be so hard to overtake this Mustang in the straight.
I tell you what.
He's close.
He's gonna get it, I reckon, Luke Wilson. No.
Not quite.
Having to get on the brakes earlier, slightly, than
I think he just backed out.
Than Luke Wilson.
He didn't want to risk it.
No, possibly not. And as we've seen already, turn 1, a very easy corner to run deep at, and the car behind you, or the car that you're attempting to overtake, gets a handy little switchback into the apex. And I'm sure Luke Wilson is conscious of that.
Yeah, Luke's just biding his time. If he finds a moment, he'll take it. As you've seen, he did it with Southcote. He'll do it again. Yeah, Duplessis is his older tires are starting to show their age. 4/10 slower than Fernando last lap.
Mm.
You know, Callum is sliding everywhere at the moment. He's maybe struggling with the pressure that Luke's putting on him, as well as just struggling with the Mustang.
Yeah, Lucas Bergold, by the way, struggling this lap. He's 1.5 seconds down on his best and 1.4 seconds back.
Hang on, Laura's P4.
What on earth is up to Andrea Lauro? Yeah, no, you're right. Andrea Lauro's had a moment on this lap. What's happened?
Hang on a minute.
Where has he gone off?
I'm rewinding 60 seconds. He gets through sector 2 fine. He's into sector 3. I wonder, is that the hairpin? He must have went over the curb too hard or something. Either that or the last corner.
But that's.
Oh!
Is it the final 2 corners?
It's the little right-hander before the hairpin before the last corner.
Did he hop that curb?
He took way too much curb.
And there's damage on the front end of that car. He's scraped up the front end of that car. You can see it. Even on the helicam, you can see that there's little white flecks.
Yeah.
And that is it.
What little aero that Mustang had is now gone. Yeah, that's Lauro's chances have just diminished considerably. He now needs a miracle. Yeah, he just mounted that curb way too much. The Mustang can eat curbs, but not that much. To be fair, Luke Wilson's still behind Callum. He's struggling to get past. He maybe just hasn't found the right opportunity yet. I will say that's paying dividends for Fernando as well. He's in the lead, and he's 3 seconds in the lead from Duplessis as well. So looking very handy for Elias. Where is Elias in the standings? This is my next question. Elias is P6 in the standings. If he wins this and Duplessis comes second, now let me check. That's 12 points. That's not going to be enough. Duplessis will still be ahead of him in the championship race. Elias is P6, Duplessis is P5 in the championship standings. And Luke is P4. So they would both might jump Luke Wilson in the championship standings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Bergel's got it, assuming Lauro doesn't get a miracle. Yeah, just goes to show how things can change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and again, it backs up what we've been saying this whole race about this being a classic, old school style track. You know?
Hang on, Luke Wilson may have a run on Cal. No, sorry, not quite. The camera deceived me a little bit. Go on ahead.
Because he hopped that curb, like we said, and that sent him into the gravel. And now Luke Wilson has a run on Callum Jones. He's on the outside in the penultimate corner. Keeps it round the outside in the penultimate corner. Can he keep it round the outside in the final corner? It'll be difficult to get a better run out the corner here than Callum Jones, but I think he might have. He has. Luke Wilson ahead.
He's just a car length ahead. As you can see, he pulls so far to the right to defend.
Not even a car length, centimetres ahead there as they crisscrossed over. But that, I think, is going to be moved on for Luke Wilson. Indeed it is. Up to 5th for Luke Wilson.
Brilliant move.
What a tidy little drive he's had in this second stint of the race.
Yeah. Oh, as Cal gets a big slide out of turn 3. I think Cal was entering a Formula Drift race instead of a World Tour race.
Yeah. Just checking to see if Jordan has been in the World Tour chat about spiders. He has not. Bergold is closing on Duplessis a little bit. He's back under a second to him as well. Yeah.
Duplessis about a second.
Duplessis running kind of 8/10, 9/10 slower than his best lap. Lucas Bergold only kind of 5-6 tenths down. So that'll be where that kind of bridge in the gap is coming from.
Yeah. So Bergold might still get P2 here. Bergold has been driving a pretty flawless championship. I think he's got like... I'm gonna have a check at his results. So I'm pretty sure he hasn't got lower than P2. No, P1, P2, P2, P1. He's had a brilliant championship. As the rest of the field is sort of spread out a little bit now. I know we haven't really said much about anyone else in the race, but they've also sort of been spread out, not really racing each other at the moment. Or really much of the race at all. They've all just sort of been out for a nice drive around Zandvoort rather, more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, Lucas Bergold is still kind of 8/10, 9/10. It's kind of like around that gap, but he's not really able to make any massive forward movement. Maybe now that he's back in the tow, back in the slipstream down the straights, we'll see him close back up again to Duplessis. Yeah. But again, with Andrea Lauro now behind him, he doesn't need to do anything really. He just needs to get to the end of the race.
I will say Lauro last lap was a tenth, just over a tenth faster than Bergold. Granted, that's not going to be enough for the rest of this race, but it's not nothing.
No, absolutely not.
In the grand scheme of things, a tenth a lap is not going to change the championship outcome, but if he can start putting pressure on Bergold, then he can maybe force a mistake, you know, that sort of thing. As Bergold really does not need to be fighting Duplessis, he just needs to follow him. Unless Duplessis slows down really much more, then he'll have to think about overtaking him. Because Duplessis was 4/10 slower that lap than Bergold was.
Yeah, and Lauro was 2/10 quicker than Lucas Bergold.
Yeah. So Bergold might be playing on his mind now that he might have to overtake. And obviously we have a much more complete view of what's going on, so we can safely say he doesn't really have to. But
I would guess with the gap that Lucas Bergold has, like he knows, like when Lauro was however many positions ahead, the maths on that is kind of difficult. But if Lauro is the car ahead or the car behind you, then you know where you sit. Like right now, Andrea Lauro knows that he's behind Lucas Bergold and therefore isn't going to have the championship. And Lucas Bergold knows that Lauro's behind him, so he has the championship. But I think he also knows that Lauro can be ahead without it being a risk, even with the double points.
Yeah, my only thing around that is if Lauro can get close and put enough pressure on Bergold, that might force a mistake that is a bit more than, you know, just losing the place to Lauro. It could be, you know, going off track. Oh, never mind. Lauro goes off track. Somehow keeps it. Doesn't hit the wall though. That was impressive.
Keeps his foot in it and is still 5/10 faster than Lucas Bergold, even having gone off track.
I think Lauro at this point is like, well, I have nothing else to lose, so he's maybe just going foot to the floor.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that.
He's got nothing else to lose, may as well risk it all. See what happens. Because he's not technically out of it if something happens, but as it stands, he's not winning.
And I tell you who closed by a second on Juan Duplessis last lap. Luke Wilson in P5, who is a long way back. Don't doubt that. He is 10 seconds away from Juan Duplessis.
Yeah, there's not enough time for him to get into this fight.
And I think we've only got probably 5 laps left, 4 or 5 laps left.
Be about 5 more laps.
Yeah, I think 5. But like you said earlier, like if these guys start fighting and something goes wrong and that gap is suddenly 3 seconds, let's say, instead of 10, that's a gap that Luke Wilson can assail with the pace that he's got at the moment.
Yeah, my only thought is Bergold worried about unnecessary pressure from Lauro if he stays behind Duplessis?
Possibly. There's a chance that he is.
You know, is he weighing up the risk of overtaking Duplessis over the risk of being under pressure from his championship rival?
Yeah, and Lucas Bergold, just to say again, last lap had his left-hand side tyres in the grass coming out of the final corners.
Yeah, really trying to use every bit of track he can get his hands on. But he is losing time to Lauro stuck behind Duplessis.
Oh, I thought he might get an insane run there, but I think him and Duplessis both had a very similar snap on the exit of turn 3. Duplessis had his first, and then Bergold very kindly followed suit, which meant that he didn't get any sort of run on that Audi driver.
Yeah. I will say Callum Jones his lap times have fallen off a bit. Southcote is within a second of him now.
Yeah, I had seen that.
Callum will need to make that a very wide Mustang. Not that won't be hard to do. It's a wide enough car as it is.
And Andrea Lauro is almost within a second here. He's gonna have gained 6 or 7 tenths this lap on these two ahead of him.
And see, this is my point. Even though technically Lauro overtaking Bergold for this position won't change the championship outcome, it's the pressure that comes with it that, you know, Bergold might be worrying about. You know, if Lauro tries to overtake here and something goes wrong, that could change it. Oh, Duplessis is
Duplessis coming into the pits? Is he short on fuel? I think Duplessis is under-fueled.
Oh my word.
I reckon he must have, right? There's no other reason for him to be coming into the pit lane. This is going to be a short stop.
Wow. That's effectively handed the entire... That's the championship done then?
Yeah, there's no way
completely.
Unless Lucas Burgold was to have like a massive crash right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
7 seconds stationary for Quantum Placis.
Absolute splash and dash.
Yeah, fuel. And considering that you're stationary for about a second either side of the fuel starting, it only took, what, 5 seconds of fuel there?
Yeah, because your jacks up, jacks down, takes a second each.
Yeah. So real splash and dash, literally probably only about 7 or 8 litres of fuel.
Yeah. Just enough for the last couple of laps. But yeah, that looks like championship has been stamped done. It's being posted to Burgold as we speak.
Yeah, like I said, unless Lucas Burgold was to have some sort of freak accident right now, or any time within the next, probably going to be about 4.5 minutes by the time that we've done the extra lap after the clock finishes.
Mm-hmm.
Then this is this is pretty much it done.
Yeah, I think Laurel will be kicking himself about that mistake. I don't think it would have made a difference, obviously looking at it now, but you know, he'd done almost everything he could have possibly done to win this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hats off to him.
I guess.
A great race.
I guess then though, the difficulty is that even if he had been in the lead, to a certain extent, Quantum Placis had sealed the fate of the championship when he made his pit stop and underfueled.
Yeah.
Because that was always going to put Goldberg back into at least 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Laurel. I think the gap was just slightly too big on this occasion. But it was a good fight nonetheless. The two of them are fantastic drivers. And yeah, actually, that changes the standings in general. Not the win of the championship. Sorry, I should probably point out the rest of the standings. So Faulkner will drop considerably out of the championship race. Lauro will go P2 in the standings. Probably Luke Wilson will take 3rd in the standings potentially. I think he will. Luke Wilson's going to get the bronze medal in the championship as it stands, I think. Which, considering he was like, what, P7 or 8 before the pit stops, that's a mega comeback. But yeah, there's the penultimate lap we're on currently. We'll have this lap and then one more lap after that. There is not really much there's not really any battles happening anymore. Everyone's spread out a little bit. Lauro is about a second back, 1.2 seconds back from Burgold. Southcott was right on the tail of Callum Jones, but he's fallen back off again quite considerably.
Yeah.
1.8 seconds now.
I think Callum Jones just had kind of a lap or two on the trot where he really struggled and was in the kind of mid to high 37s. But he's back into the high end of the 36s now and has been the last couple of laps.
Yeah, you can't really blame the guy. He's been away for what, 4 or 5
weeks? 4 weeks, 5 weeks, yeah.
Just immediately jumps back in the Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably one of the hardest 3 cars to drive in the game, and he's just jumped straight back in it again.
Yeah, so it's not going to be smooth sailing the first time you jump back into it after a few weeks away. But he's did a great job regardless. It's not perfect, but he's still going to, top 5 as it stands. That's still very impressive. In this, strike the field, the top 5 is insane.
No, absolutely.
Because if I was racing this, I'd be struggling to get in the top 10 out of, 15 cars? There you go. Later on the final lap, got the little audio notification to say Fernando is starting the last 3 and a bit kilometers or 4 and a bit kilometers of this track. I can't remember exactly how long Zandvoort is.
I know it's quite small in terms of the kind of area it occupies, but it's so twisty that it's I think it's just under 4 kilometers, is it not? Google it, Barry. Come on, you got a Google machine in front of you.
As do you, but I'm googling currently. Zandvoort track length. 4.3 kilometers. We were pretty close.
4.3.
Well, or to be specific, 4.259. There you go. Just in case you wanted to be specific about it, you know. Yeah, not much is happening here. Just Fernando has entered the third sector. He's given a little wiggle to the camera. He knows he's managed to secure this race win, assuming he doesn't do anything silly in the last 3 corners.
Yeah, he's going to be happy about that one. And I expect he probably has got the stream open in the background.
Yeah.
Because I know he's one of the guys who tends to.
He's drove a brilliant race. Very well done holding the win, especially in what looked like a slightly difficult to drive car. Excellent stuff as Fernando crosses the line in P1. And if you look in the rear, Bergold, your championship winner, what's the word? Provisionally, of course, in P2, Lauro in P3, running at the top 3, and then Luke Wilson's going to come home for P4. Lovely race from everyone. It was a really clean race as well. There wasn't really any incidents.
No, absolutely. Apart from that kind of contact between Brandon Fuller and Tatari at turn 1, I don't think we really saw any other collisions in terms of actual car contact.
I think there was maybe 1 or 2 little door bangs, but a door bang isn't really a contact, it's just a bit of racing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Callum Jones takes P5, South got P6, Duplessis down to P7. Oh, he's got big damage in front of his car, he must have crashed after he crossed the line.
Davide Mandolesi turning around to reverse across the line?
He's about to lose a position.
No, he crossed the line in time.
That was close.
But I'm not sure if the stewards are going to take kindly to that if someone were to report it. Slightly risky move to pull.
If someone reports it, yeah, they'll look at it. But as it was, I don't know if we mentioned it, but it was said the first 5 laps were live streamed, the rest is report based. Just as it's not a full grid, so we aren't live streaming the full race. But there wasn't much to steer, so they got to keep the crowds nice and sharp for the next race.
Here we go. So final order was Elias Fernando, Lucas Bergold, Andrea Lauro, Luke Wilson, Callum Jones, Chris Southcote, Juan Duplessis, Davide Mandolesi, Pierluigi Lelli, I can't remember Gallamini's first name.
I can't remember either.
Raffaele Tatari, Gabriele Squatto, Brandon Fuller, Jordan McGonigal, and Mattia Calandini.
Yeah.
And it is Lucas Bergold, provisionally, that is the champion in Season 3 of the World Tour. We will wait and see if it stays that way.
Charlie has just put in WTF, Davide.
So the reason for Jordan McGonigal parking it, by the way, Jordan McGonigal, parked because needed toilet with 25 to go and I can't hold it that long. Would have been live streaming a Code Brown horror if I kept going there. Brilliant.
At least you're honest.
Yeah. I love it. Anyways, we have got Davide Mandolesi waiting here in the interview room. So let me quickly drag him in. We'll switch to the interview screen. The very pretty pictures from various Toga Motorsport championships cycling through on your screens now. And I'll say hello and, of course, well done to Davide Mandolesi, P8 in an incredibly competitive grid. Hopefully that feels pretty good for you.
First of all, good evening to you. Yeah, it feels kind of good. It was a very tough race, as always here. And I knew I couldn't do very much. I couldn't obtain any more positions after my qualifying session because I saw everyone was basically at least 3/10 faster than me in front. So my goal was to wait for the end of the race. Basically, I didn't want to lose any position, and the rest was just me trying to hang on with this exhausting race and trying my best to complete the race in this track, which I basically never driven before, other than one dry practice session and one wet practice session. So Yeah, it was like going on a race with 3 hours of practice in total, like in my lifetime. So
Yeah, absolutely. And Zandvoort, a really difficult track. Like we were saying in the commentary, I'm sure you had the stream open in the background throughout the race. But we said on commentary quite a lot that it's one of those classic tracks where going off is immediately punished with either grass or gravel, and that only makes that lack of practice even harder.
yeah, it does. Also, as you said, when you do a little mistake, there's no margin. You are on the grass immediately, and hopefully not in the wall. And I risked, if I have to be honest, I risked quite a lot. I think at least 3 times in my race, I was facing the wall, full opposite lock, sliding all the way because I just touched like a tiny patch of grass in the braking zone or something like that. This is something that happens when you don't train a lot on a track and you don't know exactly everything of that track, and you just happen to put uh, the tiniest bit of your wheels where they don't belong. So yeah, that happens. Also, you have to be careful because on the start straight, whatever, the start finish straight, sometimes the car likes to go reverse. I don't know about that. Uh,
Yeah, you almost lost the position doing that.
yeah, it was 10 milliseconds, I think, 10 thousandths of a second. So
Oh well,
very close.
great drive, great championship. Obviously I missed quite a lot of the championship due to different reasons. So
Yeah, I was hoping that you were driving this
I
round
I
because
was suppo- I was supposed to be, but because I missed so many of the rounds, SimGrid disqualified me. So
no.
when I tried to join the race server, it went nope.
Oh damn. I think we would have had a great battle here because I don't think we were far in terms of pace.
No, I think
So
me and you on a lot of tracks have got quite similar pace.
yeah,
It
exactly.
would have been a lot of fun. But
Yeah, and also a less lonely race for me as well. So
absolutely. But next time, absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
Always good to race on track with you, Davide.
Thanks. You too. Also, for like one last thing I want to mention is this championship has been very fun for me, obviously, as always, but also to see a lot of these friendly people that I know on track and battling out everything we've got is even more special. So, as always, big thanks for everything that you put in to actually make us race. It's very difficult to speak now because I'm very tired. So that's the last thing I say.
No, lovely stuff, man. You take a part in season 4.
Maybe I'm not sure. I have to think about it because obviously with university and all that stuff, it's becoming more and more difficult to race. And I hope that I can make it. It depends on the days and on the time that I have.
No, awesome stuff, dude. Well, any case, I will definitely see you on track at some point in the future. Always good to
Definitely.
battle with you. As long as we don't hit each other next time.
Yeah.
That seems to happen sometimes, but
Yeah.
all good. No, that's awesome. But yeah, we'll let you go for the evening. But thank you very much for coming and joining us, and thanks for racing with us. It's been a great championship.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Good night.
Goodbye.
Thank you, mate. Have a good one.
You too.
So next up, we're going to talk to the race winner. So it's Elias Fernando now joining us in the box, a familiar face in these Toga Motorsport events, and someone who has been regularly fighting at the front and has finally managed to find his way to the front in this GT3 World Tour season. Elias, I mean, how was that race for you? Leading at the start, overtaken by Lauro, and then quite literally out of nowhere, back in the lead again and in the driving seat.
Oh, yeah, definitely a really good one. Definitely also the best this season, and yeah, it was really stressful having Lauro up my gearbox for the whole first stint almost, and then he overtook me. So yeah, I got first stint I got slow punctures on the front right 2 times. Yeah, I was really just slow at the end of that stint, but next stint was really good. Also had yeah, just had a good pace at the end of it, and managed to like catch up to Loro with a few temps, some laps, and get away from the guys behind, and then he had his crash, so it was almost gifted.
Yeah. Barry,
Yeah,
anything?
well,
Yeah.
even if it's gifted though, you'll always take a race win when it comes. Especially in that strength of field of a championship. Obviously, I was racing parts of the championship. For different reasons, I had to drop out of some of the rounds, but I was way at the back because some of you guys' paces is just insane. So, no, it's always good. It was good to see you get a win because you're always fighting at the front. It was, so getting that win's always good. And yeah, you had a great championship. I think you're like finishing in the top 4 of the championship or something like that, if our paper math is correct. Don't do not hold me to that. But provisionally at least we think.
Yeah, definitely. First half of the season was okay, and then my last race was I qualified really good. I had good pace, but I had a crash in the first lap. So yeah, then I had to catch up. Think I at least was last at the first lap there, but yeah, and then some 2 drivers in front of me got drive through, so that helped me the last race. I think I got P4 or no P5, maybe it was. But this race has definitely been the best. I just didn't even expect this at all because I didn't practice for this race. I went into the practice session maybe 30 or 20 minutes before the race server opened, and yeah, then I was. It was raining in the practice session, and when the practice in the race server started, I think I at some point was first, and I just yeah, I didn't understand really how, but I thought maybe that the people behind just weren't pushing that hard or something. But then I got pole also, so I then okay, I'm apparently fast there for some reason. I also driven here a couple of weeks ago in another championship, and that I wasn't really fast then because yeah, I don't know what happened today. Something just really worked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, that's excellent.
Well,
Go on ahead. Sorry.
obviously, a massive congratulations. Do you reckon you'll be taking part in the next season of the World Tour Championship as well?
Yeah, I think so. It depends on the dates. I haven't looked at it yet, but if the dates works, then yeah, I guess I will be most likely doing the next season too.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that sounds brilliant.
It'll be good to see you on track again.
Thanks.
Have a good one, mate.
Maybe up.
See you in a bit.
Bye.
See you later.
And now we are going to be talking to the provisional championship winner. There is still stewarding to go, although as far as I could tell, Lucas, I don't think you touched anything except the grass a couple of times during that race. So touch wood, it is all good for you. I mean, how nail-biting was that race for the first kind of pretty much hour until Andrea Lauro made that mistake?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. This race was actually the hardest from the season, I guess. I have missed the rain actually. I practiced all the evening and yeah, yesterday in the rain, and then I joined on the race server, and it was such a surprise. But yeah, the quali was okay, I guess, P3. And then yeah, the race was actually okay as well. It's yeah, difficult to overtake here on Zandvoort on track, and I knew that with the Ferrari I have to keep in the toe. Yeah, then after the pit stop, it was yeah, I was P4 because the Audi overtook me. That was not so good, but yeah, then the difficult no, the mistake from Lara was yeah, surprised. I don't know actually what happened with him, but
He
yeah.
he hopped the curb in the 90-degree right-hander coming into the hairpin in sector
Okay.
3,
Okay.
and got
Very
kind of
unlucky.
stuck in the gravel. Actually, me and Barry were talking about this when you were running in P4. How kind of conscious were you of the championship situation? Because obviously we have all the information in front of us, we can see all the points.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
So we knew that in P4 you were safe, but we didn't know whether you knew that.
Yeah. The thing is that I knew actually that my last 4 races, I was every time on the podium, and I knew okay that is I have a good yeah, I don't know what I say in English, but I have actually a lot of points until P2, so I knew that I have to end at the podium or I guess at least P5. I'm not sure, but I was sure that one of this position it would be enough. So that was my yeah, that was my thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know that P4 yeah would be enough. So I was very calm at this moment. But I'm happy to be on the podium again actually. But yeah, the
Yeah.
pace was yeah today yeah difficult.
No, absolutely. And obviously, it is a massive congratulations from us. Will you be looking to take part in the next season of the Toga Motorsport World Tour Championship?
I'm not sure yet because Friday is not my best day actually because of my studies and some other stuff. But yeah, I will have a look. Maybe I can. I have time, and then I will have time. Then I will take part again. It was a
Yeah,
lot of fun here actually.
absolutely. Well, that is good to hear. That is very good to hear that you've enjoyed the championship. And we do look forward to hopefully having you back again. You've been one of the the fastest drivers all season, so it'll be great to see if you do come back.
Thank you.
Anything from you, Barry?
Not really. Just a big congratulations. That you had a pretty flawless championship from what I saw. You know, P1 and P2 pretty much every race, including this one. Yeah, you finished P2, didn't you? Um, yeah. So pretty flawless championship from you. So well done. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Love to see it. And I've really enjoyed watching and driving the championship and seeing your incredible pace on track.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, mate. Have a good rest of your evening.
See you later.
Thank you. You as well. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well then, that brings to an end what has been I think the only word I can even think of using to describe it is brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Toga Motorsport GT3 World Tour Series. I mean, we have had. I'm just quickly going to hop through the round results. So we had Grant Willimot won in round 1 at Hungary. Round 2 was won by Lucas Bergold. Round 3 was won by Ethan Faulkner. Round 4, I believe, was won by Andrea Lauro. So we've had 4 different drivers win no, 5 different drivers win in a 5-round championship, because round 5 was Misano last week, that was Lucas Bergold. So we've had 5 different drivers in 6 races take the win here. I mean, that is fabulous. It just shows how incredibly close these grids are with this, I mean, to say the word again, brilliant LFM bop, but also it shows how skilled these drivers are.
Yeah, absolutely. Just shows just how strong the pace is for the guys at the front.
Yeah.
Just how well they were able to fight each other, and just there wasn't really like a sort of like Bergold had like the most consistent. He got the podium every single race, but even still, it wasn't guaranteed from the pace of everyone else around him. He just had that little bit extra in the races that he was in. So it was just great to see. You were never certain who was going to win what race. It was lovely to watch. I actually kind of glad I commentated this instead of driving it, because I would have been at the back of the grid, probably on my own, just having a Sunday drive. So yeah, no, excellent championship.
No, absolutely.
Just the strength of field is insane. I joined up the championship thinking I can maybe fight for, like, you know, top 10, top 15 or something. There's like struggle. Do you get even that?
No, yeah, absolutely. The first few races as well, where the grid was pretty full. Like if we look to round 2, which was at Silverstone, we had 29 entries into that race.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of these guys were running lap times. Like generally, a good lap for me around Silverstone, I can just about break into the 59s. The first car to run in, whose best lap was in the 59s, finished 19th at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Like, that's... I would not have been anywhere in this in this grid.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking to myself, yeah, I've got a few hundred hours under my belt now. Yeah, I should be fast enough to enter this. Absolutely not. Got humbled real fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, yep, still a ways to go, but you know,
Yeah.
it's all good.
No, absolutely. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here tonight, and thank you for joining Toga Motorsport for what has been yet another successful GT3 World Tour series. And I'm sure we will see you next time as this season starts again. I believe we've got a month or 2 off from this, and then we're back in again.
It's a few weeks.
Is it only a few weeks? Is it?
Let me tell you, I have.
We're gonna have a
Simco
check.
page up. Season 4 of the World Tour starts on November 8th. So what?
So
not even
2 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, yeah.
It's exactly 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks.
And it'll be starting all over again. All
Yeah.
the fun.
Am I signed up to this? I apparently am.
Good.
Is
Well then,
is that a good idea? maybe
I'm sure it will be. Come on, it can't be that
we'll
bad.
find out.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time. Have a good rest of your evening.
Good night.